Well, I'm being told in my ears that we've managed to pull the table across into our feature match here. So let's get down to it. Let's have a little look who we've got and what decks they are playing. It looks like a Glee combo versus Boros Synthesizer. So Boros Synthesizer, we've seen how much resilience that can do, how much like turning and burning through the deck, generating little bit of value every single time we get one of our bounce cards going, so to speak. So we can add a load of flyers to the battlefield, turn them sideways while adding a load of advantage to us. Glee combo, talk to me about that one.
So it's basically the combo revolves around the new card that is 2 mana Eldrazi that when it gets a +1/+1 counter, you create a 0/1 spawn and you can adapt it for 2. So adapt means you put a counter. And the other card, the other Splinter Twin card is Sadistically, that is an enchantment that says when a creature dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on the enchanted creatures. So since the spawn can sacrifice themselves to create a colorless mana, you buff your creature by any amount. We don't say infinite, but and you also create, let's say infinite this time, an infinite amount of colorless mana. And this means you can use some creatures or makeshift munition works. It depends on the colors, but there are a lot of ways you can abuse infinite colorless mana, of course.
So once I've got my massive creature, do I have to be able to have it unblocked to do the full combo of hitting, doing 20 damage, let's say? Or is there a way for me to fling it to their face?
I guess it depends. Like there are a lot of versions. Of course, the deck is quite new, so people are testing whatever. But I saw really a lot of different options. I see people that want to go infinite life with like a Soul Sister. I see people that wants to burn opponents down. I was playing the deck yesterday. I was playing a giant version. I was playing makeshift munitions, so shoot infinite. And so it really depends. It seems like Mancinelli is playing Jund, so it should be munition, the win condition.
Okay, cool. We'll find out as we go. Looks like we're having mulligans on both sides here. Is this a deck that kind of has to mulligan a lot? Is it really key on the combo as in I need X, Y, and Z to be able to combo? Or does it have like a more mid-range grainy strategy that has a combo finish if need be?
Well, it might be me, but I think like the version I was playing yesterday, it was very mid-range. So since you have a lot of powerful turn 2 plays, like Cleansing Wildfire on your lands, since you play Artifact lands, or you play Malevolent Rumble, that is the new steerings that creates a 0/1. But you also play Dispute and basically the acceleration of Affinity. So you play Chromatic Star and Ichor Wellspring. It's usually, I don't mulligan too much.
Well, looks like we're going to mulligan down to 6 here and a game down. Just starting off with one of those Infinity lands that we're talking about here, Artifact land. That's the red-green version. So yeah, Jund is kind of what you called it.
Yeah, I played this matchup exactly versus Gavin yesterday night in the hall of my hotel, and it destroyed me because like it was always able to deal with my creature, and I think the new Chrysalis plays a great role in the matchup because it's a flyer, so it outsides your opponent flyers. But like the problem of Borosynth is they play really a lot of bolts. So at some point, like Gavin just passed the turns and shoot me 13 damage.
Yeah, like they get a little bit of chip damage in, and when you're low enough, they instead of going like your creatures, just start throwing it all up to your faces. We're going to see Cast in Fire here using the Exile ability, of course, powerful card from the Lord of the Rings set that came out. That's going to hit the land on the other side, so no more green mana for you. Also, no more red mana until we're able to play our third land of the game, but it will come into play tapped. As we get a Luminous come down, it should be called Luminous Bread. And I will fight everybody that thinks that's wrong. I am a die-hard Lord of the Ringser. It is Luminous Bread, but now we've seen the value of it. So ATB draws a card. Now we play the Griffin Hawk, and it's going to bounce it back to our hand. So now we can recast it next turn, draw more cards, and we're just incrementally gaining value, just like on this Ichor Wellspring on the other side.
Yeah, but the bad thing is like if Marcinelli was drawing like a forest, he could combo the opponent off.
Oh, and what? Literally this turn, combo off?
You need 3 mana, 2 pieces, and an Eldrazi to start. Or a creature you can sacrifice to start.
Okay.
So, like, especially in this tournament where people don't know the decks well, a lot of people just tap out and die to the combo. So it's an interesting choice. I think playing Glee combo is smart.
Do you think that the advantage of turning up to a tournament with a deck that nobody's really seen and don't understand what it is, that as in they don't know when they can tap out, they don't know what they need to kill, they don't know what they need to take with the hand disruption, etc. Is that like a really huge like let's say an extra 15 percentage points to win the match purely on that alone because you picked a deck that has got like a good choice in the meta right now? Like if we've got the Pro Tour next weekend, if someone turns up with a completely new modern deck and no one's really looked at it or seen it and they're like, whoa, this is coming out of nowhere, what do we do against it? I'm thinking back to like Pro Tour Born of the Gods where Blue Moon turned up and everyone was like, whoa, this hits our lands and it bounces and we don't know how to fight against it, and they did really, really well. Is this one of those decks that it's going to turn up and the surprise factor of it being here is going to gain it more value than the actual combo itself, or is the combo that itself so strong that it will be able to fight through?
I think a mixture of both. I think especially for Pauper tournaments where there aren't much data and people also treat this tournament as more friendly. Like there aren't many grinders like at the Pro Tour where they scrabble up magical line list and try to get all the information possible. I think a lot of people just want to play and have fun. So playing such a combo deck is probably smart. But also, I think the deck I played yesterday, that seems the same list Mancinelli is playing, it felt really, really strong. Like, each time I was playing, my game plan seems so much more stronger than anything my opponent was doing. Like, it seems I was playing standard or something else.
It's always good when that happens, when you feel like, yeah, I'm playing Legacy against a modern deck, or something vice versa. You're like, yeah, okay, this seems broken what I'm doing. And that only really happens when you find a new deck, right? Like when you find just a new deck that no one's really worked out and you're like, well, this actually works really good and it pans out really well in the meta. And hopefully we get to see it now, but we are short of green mana. Do have an hour star on the battlefield, so can cycle that and add a green floating if we need to next turn. But at the minute, all the hate is flowing. We've got the cast into the fire here. We've got, I can't remember what this exile effect is, but lots of exile effects which can target lands getting fired off from this Boris synthesizer side. And now we're going to get in there for 2 points of damage. And this is what it does. It's a little bit of disruption, gets from the board early, generates the value it needs, and then eventually just ends up winning the game by bear on the throat. Revoke existence. Thank you very much, chat. Chat is so smart all the time, like all the time. Appreciate it. Appreciate you all being here as well. Obviously, we are bringing you, this is day number 2. Yesterday, we had the top Pauper player event, and then today we kicked off Paupergeddon 2024. 7 rounds today. We're closing out the day with a Pauper panel with the 3 people we've got here. We're going to be able to ask them all sorts of different questions. So if you've got any questions for the Pauper panel, let me know, because then I'll be able to put it to them later on after round number 7 today. And then we'll be coming back tomorrow for 5 more rounds of Swiss before we cut to that top 8 and crown ourselves a champion. Which deck won yesterday? Gates.
Gates.
Thing is, Core Gates
is
a toothpaste in the UK. So it's a really popular toothpaste in the UK. So it's really weird when I'm like, and Colgate takes it down. I'm like, okay. And Colgate made a great smile.
We say Colgate in Italy.
Oh yeah, I'm not even going to try murdering that there. No, that's not me. So it looks like we floated a bit of green mana, but it didn't really come to any effect there. No, we're not able to get any more of our combo pieces down.
But it looks like the Boros-Synth deck just tapped out. So it might be that now we see the combo occur.
But if we've got a blocker, how does the combo work? Or are we now seeing it here? Okay, here comes some a garden. This is going to generate a 0/1 plant.
So I think casting to fire plus revoke just took care of green mana, the possibility of getting green from Mancinelli. That is very smart.
Big draw step. 4 mana open. Got a 5th land drop for the turn if we need to. We're going to start off by bouncing one of these synthesizers back to our hand. And this is the power of it, right? Every time it leaves the battlefield, it doesn't have to go to the graveyard, etc. It just has to leave the battlefield. So bouncing it back to your hand, this is where we're going to be generating the value. Because now if we recast it, well, the same trigger is going to happen. And we can keep doing that over and over. We're going to incrementally make a lot of value. And these flying creatures, well, they add up. At the minute, it's just 4 damage getting turned sideways. Next turn, it's 6. Potentially after that, it could be 8. And after that, it could just be GG's.
Yeah, I think the small pressure given by Core Skyfisher is great. I think like Core Skyfisher is probably one of the most played card in Pauper, and is here to stay. It's probably It's incredible. Each time we gather here to play the Paupergeddon, and Skyfisher is always there.
Always here.
It's probably one of the best flyers in the format.
Better than Squadron Hawk?
I think so, yeah.
Ooh. People are going to come after you for that one. People love the Hawks.
I love the Hawk too, but like Skyfisher is just great.
All right, chat asking, what do you think of Rumble when you are also playing Dispute, Wildfire, and many targets it can't hit?
I changed personally the list a bit to play more permanents, but I think Rumble is just great because creating Eldrazi means you already have part of the combo set up, and I play also the Dispute that gets flashback from the graveyard. So having stuff in the graveyard is great because I also play Blood Fountain, etc. So it makes sense for me. I think Turn to Rumble is great. The card is one of the best card printed for Pauper in MH3.
Sweet. Well, we see that the Eldrazi Spawn token was sacrificed to generate the 1 mana. That 1 mana was used to then throw the Ichor Willspring at the flyer on the left hand side. This, which means obviously it's got 3 toughness, so 1 damage on the stack for it right now. So we must have a plan going forward in this turn. We're going to look at the top 4 cards, put one of these permanents into our hand. If we hit a permanent, right now we're 0-2, 3-0. Oh yeah, we just got there, and that's the common piece we're actually trying to find, right? Like that's step 1.
I'm not sure. I think it still needs the statistically.
Say that one more time.
It needs statistically the enchantment that allows them to go.
So that's the last part of the combo we're looking for now.
Yeah.
Also, the jig is up. You know, I mean, we are in game 2. They might not have seen it. They might just thought this was some sort of anything list. But here comes Dragon's Breath. 2 damage to all creatures that are non-dragons. And that is why we saw that 1 point of damage on the stack to be able to take them all down. That is a complete one-sided sweeper. Great to see that.
Yeah, it was a smart choice, actually.
Favor Inspector off the top from the synthesizer. We're going to play that. Clue is going to be generated. And we're already turning and burning, building this deck, building our board back up, generating more cards. This synthesizer deck just does not take its foot off the pedal.
Yeah. Like each time you flip a card, that throws a card, that flip a card, that bounce a card, that throws a card. Like it's a continuously flow of cards.
That's one of the new ones from MH3, right? We return type creature from our graveyard. We generate energy, and then we can use that to return the card from our graveyard. It also has cycling for 2, but we're going to return the synthesizer back to our hand, of course, generate a little bit more value. So now the 2/3's back on the battlefield because the synthesizer left. We flipped a land over the top. We can play that for the turn. We're going to replay the synthesizer, hit another land on the top.
Yeah, like it's incredible how much value this deck can generate. And I think like playtesting with people like Boros is not the first deck it comes to your mind because, of course, we see Affinity, we see Ponza, we see the combo decks. But each time we see a lot of Boros. I think Italians love to play Boros. And in general, it's just a good mid-range deck that can always be a nice choice for a tournament.
What would you say is a good deck against these Boros decks? Asking for a friend for Paupergeddon 2025.
I think every deck has legs versus this deck.
Okay.
But like similarly to any mid-range deck in Pauper, you have the good tools to fight every matchup because, of course, you play artifact removals from the sideboard. You play creatures to deal with pawns. So you play flyers, etc. I think maybe I'm not sure how this deck is positioned versus like a Chrysalis deck because I think a big creature with reach. But of course, you can flood the board and at some point throw some Galvanics at them and kill them. So I don't know. I think it's a good deck with like all the matchups are at 46%. You know the meme,
the classic Jund.
Yeah, the classic Jund.
Right, well, we've got a mana floating here from the start. Now an extra 3 mana. So this is 4, and here. Well, you speak about it. Here it comes. This isn't the only deck that we see it in this Ponza. We're going to see it here now. So we've now got 3 Eldrazi Sirens, I believe. Even though that counter said that.
I think it's 2 because 1 was sacrificed.
Oh, well, we just left it on the battlefield shortcut. Okay, got you.
But
making my life hard in the booth.
Munition plus Chrysalis is funny because you can sacrifice your Eldrazi and the creature gets buffed. So
yeah, well, that's half the reason why we see this card. It's got so many effects that is part of. Also, sneaking into the land base there is one of the new fetch lands from MH3, one of the new cycle ones, which is cool. So it's good to see. Are we calling this? Look, are we calling this like Glee combo here? Because at the minute it just looks like Jandel Drazi.
Yeah. That's why I love the deck, because you don't play, let's say, cringe creatures. So you don't play once for 1 mana that does something only where you're winning, but you just play like makeshift munition. That is a good card to have in even in mid-range scenarios, because you play artifact lands, because you play the Icors. So it's a quite nice deck. I am the guy who made the One Ring in Yawgmoth. So you know how much I like mid-range decks that at some point combos off, rather than combo decks that have a mid-range plan.
Galvanic Blast on the stack, 2 damage. No, actually, 4 damage at this point. There's so many artifacts on the battlefield. 4 damage. Do we want to, or even can we do anything? We can sack a Scion to just use it to do 1 point of damage here.
I think it's like you don't have much to do. Probably that. Yeah, but it's fine. You end up with the same scenarios. So I think you rather have 1 more blocker.
Well, if there was a second Galvanic Blast, if we got Galvanic Blast in response to the first one being sacked, we can actually get the Chrysalis off the battlefield as well. But looks like we're going to have a Journey to Nowhere. So it is going to be going bye-bye no matter what. On the stack. Journey to Nowhere, great. Like 2 mana kind of O-ring, only targets creatures. There's we're saying that there is a couple of main deck enchantment hate cards floating around now in Fraven's Charm.
Charm, yes.
We've definitely seen an uptick of that card so far this weekend. Because, having a common that's got 3 different effects to it, and all of them can be pretty relevant in this format. Exile a graveyard, destroy target enchantment, or do double the amount of damage to the amount of creatures that you've got to a creature. So, in this instance, it would be 6 damage. Now it would only be 4 damage. And,
you saw this move. So basically, Mancinelli sacrificed the board. So since Journey to Nowhere needs to target something, he has to target his own Trouble Inspector.
That's cool. Bit of a heads up play there. Maybe I don't know if that was worth it in the long run, but it looks cool on camera. Having to make your opponent, okay, well, you think you're gonna get rid of my creatures? No. I'm gonna make you do it on one of your creatures. Get it out from underneath. But we can just bounce back that journey if we need to. We've got many ways of bouncing it.
Of course.
And when it ETBs, will generate another clue. And currently we've got 3 of them on the battlefield. So of course we can turn them into cards the later the game gets if we do get into that late game and we need some more resources into our hand. Right now this Glee combo deck is not going super well. Like it feels like we're holding on to, we're clutching at straws currently. No board presence. Smaller hand than our opponent. The only thing we've got going on is we've got a way to basically shoot down some of these creatures, but all these creatures have got 2 or 3 toughness, so it's going to cost us 2 or 3 permanents to get them off, which isn't exactly what we want to be doing.
Yeah, I think probably this is the worst matchup of the deck, because your opponent either plays small creatures that deals damage in the early game. They play an amount of removal spells in forms of bolt, and they play also, actually, let the bolts at some point kill you. Yeah. And also they play, other removals and a really good way to chain cards. So it's quite a nightmare matchup for you.
Well, yeah, I remember this matchup as well is where we had that one-side sweeper. That Dragon Breath did come down. This is the same game where that happened, where we was literally completed one-side sweeper, leaving the Boris Synthesizer side with no creatures, basically just land on the battlefield, but yet still able to come back, still able to generate this amount of value. Really shows the strength of this deck. Shout out to Fire Shoes. Hope you're good. So here comes Synthesizer, bouncing the back, revealing another land. Has the Synthesizer not hit a land at this point? It feels like that's all it's revealed. Every single time we've seen the ETB all get, being played, every card that's been flipped is basically a land that we've seen on camera. But this time we are sacrificing it, generating a 2/2 Samurai with Vigilance, getting in there for 2 in the air. No creatures with reach on the other side. Now we're starting to drop that life total down. Look, 7 life. That is 2 Galvanic Blasts away from GG.
Yeah, I think Mancinelli really needs to hit something here.
What is that something?
Probably, I would start with Dispute, and then Duress plus the combo. Well, something like that.
Here comes another Cast and Fire. That is going to be pointed at the Blood Fountain. Obviously, exile target artifact is the mode being chosen.
I'm curious if Mancinelli is trying to make the Glee combo deck mana busy.
As in get them to fully tap out so then you can deal with the creature on the
Yeah.
battlefield so there's no like deadly disputes or any sort of protection spell up for it. I got you.
Yeah, also remember that the Basking Brood Scale can grow itself.
There it
so
comes.
sometimes it's tough to kill it.
Organize our mana. Swamp is going to sacrifice his blood token straight away, so we get to discard a card, draw a card. We're going to discard a land, get a fresh look at that top card. Don't get a good look at what it is. How do we win with the combo while our opponent's got 2 blockers, though? This is the bit I'm not understanding in right now. Okay, having also another creature with
so
reach.
basically, the combo works this way: you make an infinite amount of colorless mana,
Mm-hmm.
then you make an Eldrazi,
Mm-hmm.
you sacrifice it with munition. The Basking Brood Scale triggers.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And
So you
then-
make 1,000, and then you make it like a second 1,000, and those second 1,000 are the ones that you fling because you've got
Yes.
1,000 from the first mana. Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, got
So
you. got
you actually don't get infinite tokens, but you just get 1 token that you sacrifice and it creates itself.
Got you. Got you.
Also, like the Chrysalis was a good draw here because
Very
it
good
completely stop the board. And I mean, I don't think you can outsize boards at this point.
Well, we can just do this, right? We can play this, bounce back the Journey to Nowhere, play the Journey to Nowhere, get the Chrysalis off the battlefield. That's the creature with reach that we really care about. But then, is that just a trap at this point? Are we worrying too much about the Chrysalis, where we should really be, trying to prevent the combo from coming down next turn?
I mean, it depends on how many cards the Mancinelli has in hand, I think. If it's just 1, it's fine. I think I would try to push Lethal here at this point. If he has, of course, another Galvanic Blast or something.
Oh, yeah. If we've got a Galvanic Blast, yeah, I fully like that line because we're only 1 point away from lethal at that point. Let's have a little look, see what happens. Players in the tank. Of course, 3-0. 7 rounds of Magic today. We're in round number 4. Just about 4 minutes left on the clock. We'll be coming back tomorrow as well. If everyone's just tuning in now, obviously this is a 2-day GP style event. Back in the day, GPs, you have to be able to get a good enough record to be qualified for day number 2. Well, in this tournament, we need X and 2 records. As we see Fraven Charm being cast as a removal spell. This is the one from MH3, kind of a draft all-star and looking a bit like a Pauper all-star here. And it is going to be targeting the Chrysalis. Of course, it does 2 damage for each creature. So because we've got 3 creatures, or 5 creatures, it would be 10 damage going on the stack. We're going to sacrifice it in response, do a point of damage. But we didn't go upstairs with it. We just put it on one of the flyers here.
A second journey.
Now here's the journey.
Yeah.
Are we going to sacrifice our whole board here again?
Yeah, I think the first damage with the Chrysalis was pointed on the Skyfisher.
Yep. So if we sacrifice a second one, and then we sacrifice the last tokens to do a bit more damage.
Yep.
And we're doing that same song and dance that we did last time, where we're going to make it so this journey actually has to target one of our own creatures.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. But this is what's nuts so far. I would look at this board today. You still see the Boris synthesized decks in the controlling seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your opponent's at 7 life, no creatures on the battlefield. You've got a board. You've got all these lands. We've already been one-sided raft. We've had a Dragon's Breath come down and completely deal with one side of the board. We've had 2 Journey Nowheres being cast, which in response have had to target our own creatures, and yet we're still in a controlling position of this game.
Wait. Can we see it? Do they have the statistically?
Are they completely tapped out? Is this the turn?
Yes.
Nope, just having to pass the turn back. Still don't have it. 5 life on the other side, but we do have 2 blockers. Nothing with reaches on the battlefield, so we are at a free potentially. Obviously, there is a ways to be able to shoot down some of these creatures. Will cost us creatures or will cost us artifacts. We started today with like 556 players battling out over this 2-day event. Yesterday we had 124 battling out in the Pauper Top Player Tournament, and then we had about another 124 in the backup tournament we had yesterday. So around about 250 players battling out yesterday. 700 odd round this weekend because there's a huge amount of side events happening. There's a side event for special beer that's been brewed for Paupergeddon. There's the food festivals. Then there's MH free drafts firing off left, right, and center. All the vendors here, all the artists are here. It's absolutely a great weekend. This is the one Magic event which feels most like the Gathering to me, because it is a tournament for the players by the players, and it's everything you would want here. There's no like extravagant cost. There's no like, oh, okay, you've got to have the venue's food, which is inflated. There's just a load of food trucks outside. You can go help yourself to them, and they're just like, that is their business. They haven't inflated the prices. You can really kind of just enjoy yourself and have this as a really cool weekend away or a mini holiday playing your favorite format surrounded by amazing people.
Yeah, also like the venue, we upgraded the venue. Great. Like it's great. It's very big. There is air conditioning. There is the Wi-Fi, and like it seems like a very professional tournament. I really enjoy to be a part of it.
Having air conditioning is huge for Big Will over here. Like, I am so happy when I walked in, there was air conditioning because it was a bit humid over the last couple of days. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be extremely hot over this weekend. Nope, this air conditioning paying dividends to me. So the battlefield is clearing itself up a little bit here. Okay, we've done a little bit of sacking, a little bit of blocking, a little bit of creature removal. By the end, everything's done and dusted, though, and now just to, well, okay. Don't worry about that.